Good evening, the city of Newark. It is great to be with you this evening. I am Allison Ladd. I serve as the Deputy Mayor for Economic and Housing Development for Mayor Raj J. Baraka. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this exciting event tonight, where we will be talking all about home ownership, all about how you can access more dollars to either buy your first home or renovate your home. Mayor Baraka, with the support of City Council, has increased the amount of dollars that are available to you so that you can be part of our community and own your own home or renovate your home in our city. We are so glad that you are with us tonight, and there's so much that we have to share with you as we get started into our session this evening. To give you an idea of how we're going to go about tonight, I am going to continue to welcome you. We'll show you a short video. Then we're going to have a welcome from Mayor Baraka. And then we're going to move right into the how-to session on how to apply for our Live Newark program, both the facade improvement program and our down payment assistance. And in addition, you are going to hear from some people who have accessed both programs, and they're going to tell you their stories. So there's so much ahead for tonight's session, and we're so glad that you chose to log on and listen to this exciting home ownership event all about Live Newark. So let's get started. I'm going to show a short video, so bear with me, and we're going to start off with our short video.
Without the city of Newark, it would have been difficult to secure the property without their help with the down payment due to limited funds. I would have also probably lost the bid on the housing. So I was very grateful for the city being able to allow me to get the grant.
Hello, this is Mayor Raj J. Baraka. If you are a Newark resident and are a homeowner, or if you are a Newark resident and you're looking to own a home, you should be looking for Live Newark program right here in the city of Newark. Only 22% of Newark residents actually own a home. This is an opportunity to build wealth in our city, to get residents who either own homes to fix them up and increase their value, or for residents who don't own a home to get an opportunity for the first time to purchase a home of their own for themselves or your family. We are providing no interest loans that are forgivable for Newark residents to begin the process of owning a home. If you already own a home, you can use these dollars to fix your home up. Live Newark, learn about it, use it. Thank you.
The Live Newark Down Payment and Closing Cost Assistance Program provides $10,000 for families who want to buy a home in the city of Newark. This zero interest loan is forgiven after 5 years if you should stay in the home.
It gave me partial payment for the down payment. Wouldn't be able to purchase a house. I would have had to wait to come up with more funds. Feels great, have my own place for my children, my family. Everybody could come together, have cookouts.
The Live Newark Facade Improvement Program has loans up to $20,000, and the interest is also 0%. And the entire amount of the loan is forgiven if you should continue to live there for 5 years.
It worked out very well for me. I was really pleased with the program. The work, first of all, they had to cut down 2 trees that was here in this area here. Then they laid the sidewalk, did the retainer wall, and put up a new fence. And I was happy with the job that was done.
The COVID-19 crisis has made it more difficult for our residents to become homeowners and for existing homeowners to be able to save their property. Mayor Baraka has created the Live Newark program to help our residents purchase their home and renovate their home during this difficult time. To find out more about the Live Newark program, go to the city website at www.newarknj.gov and choose Economic and Housing Development from the drop-down menu of departments. On that page, you'll find a link that will take you to a detailed description of the Live Newark program, eligibility for it, and documents that you need and how to apply. And, you know, again, we're just so excited you're with us this evening, and you're here to hear about our program, the Live Newark program, where Mayor Baraka has increased our down payment assistance from $5,000 to $10,000. And also, he's increased the facade improvement program from $15,000 to $20,000. So tonight, you're going to hear from an amazing team at the Economic and Housing Development Department. You'll hear from Janine Hazard-Williams, who's the manager of the Housing and Finance Division. You'll also hear from Carmine Rosario, who handles Live Newark down payment assistance. And you'll hear from Kelly Schick, who's also with the Facade Improvement Program. So we really look forward to having you hear all about our Live Newark program tonight. So at this time, I'd like to turn over the microphone to Janine Hazard-Williams and have her start by kicking off the session where we'll talk more about how to apply for both of our programs. Janine? And Janine, you're on mute.
Sorry. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Ladd. As the Deputy Mayor mentioned, my name is Janine Hazard-Williams, and I am the manager of the Division of Housing and Real Estate in the Department of Economic and Housing Development. Tonight, we want to highlight our Live Newark program. So I would like to give you a brief overview of what the program entails. The Live Newark program is designed to assist individuals who wish to purchase a home for the first time and may need help with coming up with money for closing cost fees or down payment, or you might be a homeowner who needs repairs done to the outside of your home, which we know increases its value as well as beautifying the neighborhood. We realize that because of the rising costs of home ownership and the cost of repairs for a home, we felt the need to expand and increase the levels of funding for the program. So this year, the program was expanded in order to provide more funding to individuals who apply for the program. The closing cost program was increased from $5,000 to $10,000, and the facade improvement program was increased from $15,000 to $20,000. Just to let you know that funds for the Live North program come from the city's annual home allocation, which are federal dollars that come from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. So these are federal dollars. Funds for applicants are provided in the form of a loan that is interest-free and forgivable after 5 years, as long as the property is utilized as their primary residence. So before I introduce Carmen Rosario and Kelly Shank, who will give you more details about the program, I just want to let everyone know that we do have brochures about the program that are available in City Hall and will be distributed in various venues throughout the city. Because City of Newark is a diverse city, the brochures come in 3 different languages. We have them in English, we have them in Spanish, and we have them in Portuguese. So for more information, you can also go to the city's website at www.newark.nj.gov under the Department of Economic and Housing Development, and you can click on the Live Newark Facade button, where you can actually access an application as well as see all of the eligible documents, or the, I shouldn't say eligible documents, the required documents to apply for the program. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Carmen Rosario, who will go over the details on how to apply for the Closing Costs program.
Thank you, Jenny. Good evening, everyone. I'm the contact person for the Live Newark Closing Costs program. The goal of this program is to encourage homeownership within the city of Newark to provide funds for closing costs. For the Spanish speaking, el propósito de este programa es para ayuda a los primeros compradores de casa con fondos para el cierre de su propiedad en la ciudad de Newark. Aquí, primeramente, okay. Now, for the applicant, applicant must be the first-time home buyers. Funds will be used for the purchase or closing from 1 to to 4-family dwelling within the city of Newark, including individual townhomes or condominiums. This property cannot be used as a vacation, second home, or rental investment properties. It's not eligible. Applicant must have necessary resources, maintenance, ownership, or homes. Applicant must provide copy of signed contract of sale, purchase agreement at the time of submission for the application to be reviewed. Other information and documents will be required to review application. Go to the second. This program is up to $10,000. It's a forgivable loan for eligible closing costs or down payment for home purchases within the city of Newark. This program will be forgivable for the dwelling most applicant primary residence for 5 years. 20% of the loan will be forgiven each year that the purchaser makes property her primary residency, meaning that they have to reside the home for the 5 years, up to 100% of the loan. Borrowers are required to execute redevelopment loan agreement outlining the term of the loan. That will be a second mortgage. That it will be recorded at the city clerk of Union County. Mortgage secured. The other slide. Mortgages are secured by a lien in the amount of the loan will be discharged after the loan is fully satisfied. Programs are subject to availability and are provided on the first come, first served basis. So right now I will be for Kelly Shank.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Kelly Shank. I'm the contact person for the Live Newark Facade program. And I'd like to just thank everyone for their interest in the closing costs on Newark Facade program. The goal of the program is to create a sense of pride of home ownership, to preserve and/or increase the value of residential properties throughout the city of Newark, and also to beautify the neighborhoods, bring some of that blight into beauty. As Manager Hazard said earlier, the grant has been up to $20,000 from 15 to 20. Okay, it's for 1 to 4 family homes. The property must serve as your primary home for 3 consecutive years before filling out an application or at time of submission of application. Unlike other grants and loans, we don't want money back, we want your time. So we want you to remain on the property for a term of 5 years after the loan is granted to you. 20% of the loan will be forgiven each year that the purchaser makes the property his or her primary residence, up to 100% of the loan. After the 5 years, it's forgiven, it's discharged. We will record a mortgage at the Hall of Records, at the Essex County Hall of Records and Deeds. So after the 5 years, it's forgiven. Next slide, please. Again, you will have to execute a redevelopment loan agreement outing the terms of the loan. We will hold the mortgage for the 5 years. It will be discharged once the loan is satisfied. Some of the repairs that you could get is roofing, sidewalks, painting, asphalt, concrete, windows, porches fixed, things of that nature, as long as it's the outside, preferably the front of the home. Again, this is a first come, first served basis. And you must have a licensed professional contractor to do the work. And we do vet our contractors to make sure. Again, some of the improvements consist of the exterior repairs to the roof, the painting, siding, replacement of door, window, porches, steps, concrete, asphalt, driveways, retaining walls, whatever that needs to be either replaced or could be repaired. Okay, we won't add anything to your house that's not already there. Okay. This is some of the before and after pictures that we did in the past. This was a house that, as you can see, the before pictures and the after pictures are beautiful. This is another one that was before and after. And we have the homeowner who resides at this home, Mr. Jose Santiago. This is his home, and he's going to share his experience about the program with us this evening. Jose, this is another home, a before picture and an after picture that went through our program. And this is our information. You can contact Carmen and I at the numbers listed, or you can come and visit us at the office. We're located at 920 Broad Street, room 403. You can give us a call anytime or come by.
Thanks, Kelly, Carmen, and Janine. I really appreciate all of that great information that you shared on how to apply for the Live Newark program and for how people can access now up to $10,000 of down payment assistance, 0 interest, forgiven over 5 years. Or you can access $20,000 for rehabilitation assistance, and that is 0 interest and also forgiven over 5 years. And so we're just really delighted that both of you were able to give such detailed information for our viewers and our residents and those that want to own a home or rehabilitate a home in our city of Newark. I see now that we also have 2 individuals who have participated in our program, and they've been so gracious to give their kind time to us and also their story. If we could start with Jose Santiago. I see that you've joined us on video. If you would please share your story with our audience about how you've been able to access Live Newark through the city of Newark. And thank you. Sir, we see that you're on mute. So if you could have you come off mute.
Oh, yep, I got it. Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
My name is Jose. I've been a property owner since 2015. I decided to research the city of Newark, and I noticed that they had provided a program for facade. At the time, I needed assistance with fixing my siding of my property. I also needed help with my roofing and my peak of my driveway. With the help of Ms. Shank, after I submitted my application and everything was processed, I was able to get approved for the program. I was given a list of different contractor companies that the city of Newark has used in the past. So I picked 3 different contractors. I had them come review the home and submitted us a bid. And then those bids were provided to the city of Newark, and they decided which one we were gonna approve for. Once I got my approval, it was pretty simple, pretty fast. The work took maybe like within 2 weeks, it was completed. And I haven't had any issues. It's been great.
Well, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us on Facebook Live, telling us your story, inspiring others to access the program. Call Kelly about how they can access the program and learn more about contractors and assistance for our city and our residents. And we're just really glad that you offered your time this evening, and we hope you can stay for as long as you like. So thank you again for coming on tonight.
Thank you.
And again, to everyone, tonight we are talking about our Live Newark program during June, our home ownership month. And it is incredibly exciting for us to share about Mayor Baraka's Live Newark program and the expansion of both programs, where we're able to now provide $20,000 of funding for renovations through the facade improvement program, and also $10,000 of down payment assistance if you'd like to buy your first home here in the city of Newark. So we're just really excited that you could join us tonight. I think at this time, I'd like to ask Andrea Mason, the Newark People's Assembly, along with Jennifer Fana, to join us tonight to see if we could answer some questions that maybe our audience has about the Live Newark program. And we're all here and ready to respond to anything that our viewers and listeners have in mind and how we can help clarify anything.
Perfect, do appreciate it. And yes, the news feed is definitely going. So first, I'm going to take the opportunity to thank everybody for joining. And I also want to state that on the flyer, it did say if anyone had questions to submit them to Newark People's Assembly, the email address prior to the event or prior to the meeting. So I do have a few questions before I get to the news feed, but those that were emailed to us. So the first, and I know that you went through the information quite quickly because we wanted to allow enough time for the Q&A, but there's still quite a few questions specifically about criteria and eligibility. So if you could just sort of, not really sum it up, but if you could tell what the requirements and the eligibility are for each of the programs, that would be greatly appreciated.
Oh, sure, we'd be happy to. If we could start with Kelly, if you could go first, and then we'll have Carmine go. Kelly?
Sure. This is a federally funded program. So, you know, when the government, anyone gives you money, is rules and regulations you have to abide by. The number one rule is they want you to stand a property for the 5 years. There is an income limit that you have to come by, and this is HUD's income limit. I have an application here. On this application, this is the actual application. It is documents that you have to submit. We have a checklist in the back of the application that tells you what you have to submit. This is the back of the application. So you would have to have owned the home for 3 years. You have to submit a deed. Your mortgage have to be current. Your water have to be current. Your homeowner insurance have to be current. You have to come under the HUD's income limit. I'm trying to see what else. Tax returns we would need and sources of income to make sure that you're under that income limit. And this is a checklist for you to detach when you're filling the application out and check everything that you're submitting with the application and make sure you have all the documents. So everything basically have to be current for you to be approved for the grants. And the income limit is very important because if you go over the income limit, you're not going to be eligible, even if everything is current. And on page 4 of the actual application, we have the current income grid here. So we put the income grid here to let you know if you're eligible or not on page 4 of the application under family composition.
Kelly, could you read that off for our listening viewers and let them know the limits for this year? As we know, the limits do change every year by HUD guidelines and our federal partners. And so it's important for our interested parties to take a look at the application because it can change year over year. But we'll have Kelly give out those income requirements by family size. Kelly?
So for one person that's occupying a home, this application is $54,950 that you can't go over. For 2 people, it's $62,800. So $62,800. 3 people, $70,650. 4 people, $78,500. 5 is $84,800. 6 is $91,100. 7 $97,350, and 8 is $103,650. And you can also get this on the HUD.gov website too. So you can go to HUD.gov, go to income limits, and you will go to Newark as the jurisdiction.
That's great. So everyone can see that the income does change based upon household size. And so the more people that are living in your household, the more income that you can have as it relates to being qualified for the program. And all of this information that Kelly is sharing with you is on our application, and our application is on our website at newarknj.gov. And if you go to Economic and Housing Development drop-down box, you'll be able to find the Live Newark application. You can find both for the facade improvement program and also for the down payment assistance program. So you'll be able to pull that information right from the website if you weren't able to catch it while we were speaking tonight. And we'll be happy to make sure that we have that link shared with everyone who's viewing tonight. With that, I'd love to say thank you to Kelly and move to Carmine. If you could share more about the documentation and other rules associated with the down payment assistance.
Sure, thank you, Dr. Deputy Mayor Lynn. The first thing we do is the application. For us to review application, it has to be with a contract. So you have to make sure you have a contract and agreement or agreement. It's a couple of documents. They have to be submitted with the application. That will be income, pay stub, government pay stub, tax return, award letter for Social Security pension, and homeowner insurance will be before closing. So before we gather all the documentation with the application, the last step will be the loan estimated from the lender. So you will get appraisal, loan estimated, and you will get homeowner insurance before we do closing at the office, before you receive the check. Basically, this program is the same requirement as PESA with the same income limits. You have to reside at home for the 5 years. It has to be your primary residency. And after the 5 years, that will be discharged from the mortgage. And basically that's what that's what everything on the application. Application can be obtained at newarknj.gov, or they can go to the office and pick up application in person. We receive application in via email too.
That's fantastic, because I think that you hit on a great point. Not only can you access the information by going to a website, you can come to City Hall. You know, now that we are looking at the other side of COVID-19 and, you know, our numbers are below 1% and more of our population here in the city is getting vaccinated, City Hall is open. So you are welcome to come visit us in City Hall and go to the 4th floor. And we would be happy to also provide you this document, our applications in hard copy, so you can take it with you if the computer is not the best way for you to get the information. So feel free. You can access the information any way you'd like. You're welcome to get it from the internet, or you can come visit us in City Hall. And I will tell you, after 15 months of COVID-19, we are all so happy to see any resident that wants to come visit us in the City Hall, because it's been such a long year for us all. And we're just hopeful that everybody who's watching tonight is safe and healthy and doing well and staying strong. And this is hopefully also giving you a little bit of hope about other ways for you to access resources for your family during this time. So again, you can access the program through the internet, through our website, newarknj.gov, or come visit us at City Hall on Broad Street, and we'd be happy to help you that way as well. So Andrea, happy to turn the floor over to you to see if there's more questions that we can answer.
I'm actually, Deputy Mayor, I'm actually going to take the floor and ask one of the questions. As Andrea mentioned, we are now reading the questions that were emailed to us. And so this was a very interesting question, and I'm going to read verbatim what the resident shared. Is it possible to enter the Newark Live program as a first-time home buyer and be able to transition the purchased house into a nonprofit homeless shelter for men in Newark who are in need of emergency housing and other services?
It's a great reason to ask the question. And we're so thankful that this person asked that question. But unfortunately, given the rules around the down payment assistance program, you have to live in the home for 3 years as your primary residence. Sorry, for 5 years as your primary residence. So you have to live in the home as your primary address where you reside for 5 years. And so but I will offer that for that person who asked the question, feel free to reach out to our, again, our website or give us a call. Janine Hazard-Williams, the manager who is also on tonight, she runs a variety of programs and funding opportunities. And the mayor announced just a couple weeks ago a $20 million fund that will help finance affordable housing for our residents at 30% of AMI and below. So it's about $34,000 for our families of four. So that program will definitely help perhaps the interested party who just asked that question, because maybe they could access another source of funding for that purpose. So stay tuned. There'll be more information about this Affordable Newark initiative. That's that $20 million that the mayor announced just a couple weeks ago. So thanks for the question, Jennifer.
Thank you so much. So as Andrea mentioned, a lot of the questions that we received through email were primary around what is the requirement? Is the program for singles or families? So I wanted to ask, ask that question. Is the program only for singles, or for, is it open to both populations, families and singles?
Both. It's family then sing. It can be a household of one, or it can be a household of 10. So it's open, yeah.
And how often can someone apply for the grant? So since it does take 5 years for it to be forgiven in its entirety, after on the 6th year, can somebody apply for it again if the funding is available?
Well, I would say no, because the waiting list is so long that, we have to finish that. They can apply for a program with a different name, but it's one time. It's one per, per family.
And closing cost is first-time home buyers. So if they go on the 6th year, it will be the second home. So it won't be the first-time home buyer.
I do have a follow-up for you, Carmen. So I'm just actually personally interested in knowing, are you only a first-time home buyer the very first time you purchase, or after 10 or 15 years are you considered, and maybe not for this grant opportunity, but just generally speaking, to apply as another first-time home buyer?
You're talking about lender? Like?
No, as a borrower, is it only the very first time you're considered a first-time home buyer?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I know HUD considers a first-time home buyer someone who never owned a home, or someone who may have owned the home, but it's been out of their possession for 3 years.
You become a first-time home buyer again.
Right.
Yeah, that helps, because I knew it was something that, I knew it was something, but that answered it. Thank you.
It all depends the lender too. So you have to check with different lenders. It comes with loans. So it could be if you're not a homeowner at the time of closing, you could become a first-time home buyer, but it's all depends the lender.
Let me just remind everybody that these questions are flowing in. So Jennifer and I are going to try to just throw them to you. If you can answer them as succinctly as possible so we can try to get through them, we would appreciate it.
Okay.
The next question. I'm so sorry for the long pause. We're going back and forth. What are you doing for homeowners that want to fix their house up? Is there any, besides the two programs, do we have anything else for, I'm assuming this is for the interior, since they, either or, because they didn't specify. They simply said, what are you doing for homeowners that want to fix their houses?
Well, we have the facade program at this point. I mean, we don't have an interior program yet. So right now we are fixing up homes on the outside.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Also,
Mhm.
there's a person that previously applied and they were waitlisted. So how do they find out their current status?
Well, what I do is once I receive an application, I send out a letter of confirmation that I received the application, and then I let them know once their application is up for review, someone will contact them from our department. I mean, and they can always periodically check what's the status. They can email me, they can call me, and I'll let them know. Because I filter them out as they come in. Like I go in order as they come in. So if you filled an application out June the 1st, you have to wait because we still have people from January of 2021. We have some people from 2020, so we have to filter them out first.
Thank you kindly. This is an interesting question. If you live in one of the corridors, streets shared between Irvington and Newark, for example, 18th Avenue, but the section of the street you live on currently is Irvington, would you still be eligible for the closing cost program to purchase a home in Newark, or even eligible for the facade program? Would the loan be subordinated if the homeowner wants to apply for a home equity loan after receiving the funds? That was a lot of questions. I'm so sorry. Those were 3 questions. Do you want me to read them? Question is one large question, but there's 3 questions within the question. Would you like for me to read them again?
So you will get, well, I understood. The half of
Okay.
it in one city and the other half is in the other city. And you want to know if they qualify for the programs. So that will be a big question. I mean, probably half of the house will be fixed. No, that will be probably Deputy Mayor. That's the first time I hear something in that way. I mean, I never heard it like that before.
Like, how will we do something like that? How will we, you know?
I think it's a great question. I'm glad we're asking it because we are a city of Newark that touches other municipalities and towns around us. And it makes sense, especially as we're talking about our adjacent town of Irvington, because we do have some streets that are just like what was shared. So what I would say is that I would give us a call. Let's look at it. If your address is the city of Newark, then we would want to ensure that we could help you. If your mailing address, though, is the city of or the town of Irvington, I do think that would be more difficult for us. But if your address is in Newark, New Jersey, then yes, we would want to assist you in either the down payment assistance program or the facade program. But reach out to us.
So luckily, just with my experience and having these meetings in the past, I can answer some of the questions on Facebook, but before I jump the gun and press send on this comment, I want to make sure I'm answering it properly. So if you currently own a home with someone else, are you still considered a first-time homeowner if you want to purchase a loan?
I can answer that. If you already own a house, you're not a first-time home buyer. So I think that's the answer, right? You got it. So it has to be a first-time home buyer. If you own a house and your name is in a deed or a home, you are a homeowner. So it's not going to be a first-time home buyer.
Carmen, I have a follow-up question to that statement. If it's a married couple, but the wife did not put any information, but the husband purchased a home and did all of the paperwork just with the husband's name, if the wife decides to purchase a property, is she a first-time home buyer?
Yes, definitely. If she is not on the contract or deed of the home, she is a first-time home buyer.
Even if she's married?
It's okay, but she's able to buy it because she never been a homeowner.
But she can't live in two homes. She has to reside either with her husband or she got to reside by herself. So she has to decide what house she's going to be in, because then she's breaking the rules of the
She will
program.
have to reside the home that she's buying. That's the only thing. She could buy the home from the ex-husband, but she will have to reside the home for the 5 years. That's the requirement.
So I think the key takeaway on this is that it's your primary residence. So if you're a married couple and then for some reason a relationship changes, then you want to buy your own home, you can do that if you weren't on a deed. But if for chance that you are, then that would pose a different set of questions to us. But it's really about your primary residence. And so we would want you to be able to verify that you're living in the home as your primary residence, regardless of your relationship status.
And so we are offering this as down payment costs. Can it also be used for closing costs?
Yes, it can. Well, it's closing costs and it can be used for down payment.
I guess I said it wrong, although I said it as it was stated.
It's the same, but basically, usually we use it for closing costs. If is any money left from the $10,000, or the amount has to be over $10,000 for them to get the full amount. So if they get the full amount and the deposit has to be $8,000, is $2,000 left, and the closing cost and down payment is over $10,000, that money can be used for down payment.
One resident shared, what about churches?
For closing?
They didn't specify, but I would apply the questions to both programs.
Because this is for residential, 1 to 4 family home.
So Deputy Mayor, we're getting quite a few comments about the Section 8 to home ownership program. And I know we just did a press conference like earlier this week, no, last week, excuse me, days running into each other. But we had the press conference last week regarding that program. So people are sort of confusing it, thinking that, you know, they're actually asking quite a few of those type of questions on this feed. So can you just sort of give the difference, well, not the difference, but can you share why they wouldn't be eligible for this program if they are wanting Section 8 to home ownership?
Sure. All of the programs that we're talking about, whether it's Live Newark, down payment assistance and closing cost assistance, or the facade improvement program, or the Section 8 to home ownership program that Andrea, you just mentioned, they're all about building legacy wealth and equity for our families. And so everything is about home ownership. But specifically, the Section 8 home ownership program that the mayor spoke about a week ago was a program of Invest Newark. Invest Newark partnered with the City of Newark and also with the Housing Authority and a few other partners to be able to purchase properties from the city. Then they renovated them with minority developers and Newark developers. And then they were able to sell them to families that won a lottery through the Newark Housing Authority. And now those families are able to use their Section 8 voucher as mortgage payment rather than rental payment. And so now they're able to own their own home. It's an incredible program that Invest Newark designed along with the Newark Housing Authority and other partners to really help build wealth and give people a continuum of housing options from rental to home ownership. And that was really a true testament about how the mayor, Invest Newark, and the city is really focused on our families here in Newark. But for more information about that, I encourage you to go to investnewark.org and reach out to them. Our pilot program there with Invest Newark was 3 houses initially. I know there will be more to come because it's related to the land bank, which is another great effort of Mayor Baraka and Invest Newark, which we're trying to transform vacant and blighted properties into affordable housing and other neighborhood assets even faster than we have in the past. So please reach out to Invest Newark investnewark.org. And I know that they'll be able to give you some more information about the Section 8 homeownership program. But we too believe that it was an incredible day to see families get keys to their home and walk in and be just so proud of everything. So it was a wonderful day, I know, for the families and for our city.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And for those who weren't privy to watching the press conference or even hearing about it, you summed that up perfectly. So thank you for that.
And we'll continue the questions. One of our residents wanted to know, is credit score a determining factor for eligibility?
We do not use credit score because this is a grant, it's not a loan. So it will not affect any of the, it will not affect the application.
Great. And can these closing assistance programs apply to FHA 203K loans?
Yes.
Where can residents search for homes?
Well, that's a big question for everybody. Let's say all the residents, when they come to the office, we do not have a list of property. We just refer them if they want to see any property, city-owned property is in property management. But list, we do not have a list right now of property. We never have a list. So we just refer them to go, and I refer them to go for the class first, and then probably they're the first time home buyer class, and they can get probably more information on that.
So great question. I actually wondered this myself. So Kelly, you mentioned that there is a waiting list. Mm-hmm. So how long is the waiting list? And more important, why are we rolling out this program if the people that apply right now are not able to be awarded at the time?
Good question. The Facade is a one-woman show, so I'm gonna just put it out there. I can only do so many at one time. I try to review and approve at least 7 to 10 a month. We still have to go out to homes to take pictures. We still have to find contractors. So it's a lot of work. It's just not getting an application, approving somebody. We have to meet with the homeowner to go over the program, because believe it or not, a lot of homeowners don't really know the details of the program. They just know they're gonna get their house fixed. So we have the waiting list because we have to take things into steps once we get the application. So, and then COVID didn't do us any justice. That delayed a lot because we wasn't working for almost 8 months. So, but I'm trying to get a lot of applications out there. I'm reviewing them. You know, we had one of our staff that went to take the photograph retired. So that stopped us for a little while. So we're just trying to get things back in the swing of things. And I just ask everybody, just be patient. We're gonna get to you.
But Andrea, I think that, you know, Kelly's right. You know, we do have to continue to look at resources so that we can serve our community and those that are applying for programs faster. At the same time, though, it doesn't mean that we don't want to share this great information with people, because in some cases, the great news is that there's more money available. So now the mayor's increased the program's limits to $20,000 for rehabilitation, $10,000 for down payment and closing costs. And that was not the same just 30 days ago. And so part of what we want to do is make sure more people know about it, because maybe today is not the day that you're ready to buy your house. And maybe today is not the day that you're ready to submit an application for renovation dollars. But you might remember this Facebook Live and you'll go back to it and you'll want to come and apply for the program because you find a need later on throughout the year. So, and then I'd say second, we also have funds that are available. And I think that that's a really important part. Some that might be on our Facebook Live tonight might remember a time a few years ago when we had limited resources available, which is why both Carmine and Kelly talk about first come, first serve. But I can tell you, under the mayor's leadership, with Janine Hazard-Williams' management of the program, we've been able to provide $1 million that's available for programs. And that we announced last year, and we're going to hold it flat again this year. And if we need more resources, we'll just have to go look for them. And so I want people to know that, because some people might remember a time when they might come to apply for these programs and we might have utilized all the dollars that were available, but not today. We're here, we're open, we're ready. We want you to take advantage of what we have and the opportunities here in our city. So that's the reason why we're with you tonight, is we want you to remember this, and maybe it'll start your journey for applying for one of the programs.
Okay, and next question. Do you have to reside in Newark prior to purchasing your first home in Newark using the closing cost program?
No, you could live in all the state, and you just have to buy in Newark and reside in Newark after you buy the home. But it could be anywhere in Newark, and it could be any resident from out of state, as long they move into the house, to the home.
And stay there for the amount, the allotted
Reside
time.
for the 5 years, yeah.
Great. And will the loan be subordinated if the homeowner wants to apply for a home equity loan after receiving the funds?
Yes. Yes, they can.
This doesn't stop them from refinancing or anything. They can still refinance. Yeah. Mhm.
So this person is saying, cut to the chase. They didn't really say that, but how do they get an application?
Application, they can either get it to the email, the website, Newark website, newarknj.gov, or they can visit the office in person.
And I just took the liberty of sharing that just because I know it was mentioned earlier, and I know other people do also have that question. And even ladies, if you could give your phone numbers and your email addresses again, that would be appreciated.
Sure. If you want, mine is Rosario, Rosario, C as in Carmen, Newark at newarkci.nj.us. And my phone number is 973-733-8461.
My direct number is 973-733-8425. And you can always call the front receptionist. That's at 973-733-8400. My email address is Kelly, which is KELLYSE at ci.newark.nj.us.
Thank you so much. And we just want to apologize to the audience. If you see me and Andrea looking elsewhere, is that we're trying to look at the feed through our multiple devices. So that's why we may be looking away. And so let me get back to these questions. I know, Kelly, you talked about the process and why the process is where it is, but I'm not sure if this was one of the comments that you made. So I'm just going to revisit that question. How do you decide who will receive the forgivable loan? I completed the application and sent all of the documentation that was needed.
Well, I review the applications when they come in, and especially for the income. Like I had one today that the income was over. So I called them, I let them know you're over income. So that one I would just send a termination letter. But if it's one that goes for income, if I put them on a waiting list, when their name is up, I call them, ask them, are they still interested? And then I send them a letter, a predetermination letter. And then like a week or two after that, I send my inspector out there to take photographs. So I go by the waiting list. I take the names off the wait list. I may take a cluster or maybe 10 at a time and ask them, are they still interested? Because time has passed. Because some people already did repairs, or some people are no longer interested, or I have some people that say they're not going to stay on the property So they rather just go to the next person. So I do call them off the waiting list, see if they're interested. If they say, yeah, the majority is still interested, and then we take it from there. And they get someone to come out, take pictures, they come in, we talk about the program, I tell them what's needed, and we move from that point.
And can this program be used in conjunction with other DPA programs? And I'm not familiar with DPA, so can you tell me what that means?
Down payment assistance. Yes.
That was simple.
Sorry, Andrea. This resident, and I'm not sure what these three letter means, but I'm sure Kelly does, are HUD income limits based on AGI?
What the area, AGI? I know
Area median income.
Right, the AMI, yes, it's area medium income, which is AMI. So it is based on.
Oh, she put AGI.
Yeah, the area medium income, that's why Newark has their own income limit, like they call them PJs, participating jurisdiction. In Newark, we have, and we're going off low income for Newark. So that's what we base, but the AMI is based off of the income limit. Yes.
And now this is a separate question. Do you have any programs for the working or middle class?
Well, the program is for everyone, working, middle class. As long as they come under the income limit and everything is current, it's for, yeah, whoever applies and eligible.
So Kelly, we just engaged in some community meetings for the American Rescue Plan funding, the $88.3 million that the city of Newark received. And many of the programs that we offer due to income restrictions or guidelines, many or several homeowners don't qualify because they make over the amount. So I think that's what that question was getting at. You know, is there something that isn't income-based that they can apply for? And what I will share is that the administration did hear that, and there are considerations being made for some housing assistance type programs for those who make over the income limits that are currently on the books.
Okay, so.
Right, and that makes a lot of sense, Andrea. You know, our program, as I think Kelly and Carmen and Janine said, is we're funded with federal dollars. They're home funds that have income restrictions, and it is the funding source that we have available for both programs. And we know that there are other families and individuals that are interested in similar programs, but now our funding source is the home funds that Janine referenced at the beginning of our presentation. And so should other dollars become available that have different restrictions or less restrictions related to income, then we'd be sure to be back here in Facebook Live, or maybe we'd be in person. That would be also a treat. So we'll see how we can do that as well.
And so the next question is, the Newark Facade Programs requires you, and I want to verbatimly quote her, reside for 3 years prior to applying, but it does not specify if you must reside in the specific home or in the city of Newark in general. Please specify. And I just want to add, this resident put this question 4 times.
Well, it says it on the application. I don't know if do they have an application, because it does spell it out in the application that you have to have been there 3 consecutive years before applying for the program. And then you have to, the term is 5 years to stay on the program once you're approved. It does say it in the application.
One of the things that we're promoting with what Kelly is sharing is that we really want people to buy their home, stay in their home. If they need to renovate their home, we'd be happy to have them be part of the Live Newark Facade program. But we want you to stay there, and we want you to be part of our community and part of our city. And so that's the benefit of the funds and the program that's available, is that it's for our city, our residents, and for Newarkers. So that's definitely something that we know. At the same time, We have other programs, as I spoke about, the Affordable Newark initiative that Janine is leading for development partners, for investment partners, for those that are looking to build housing, invest in our city. We want you to come invest in our city as well. But this case tonight, we are talking about homeowners and residents of Newark who want to stay, live, and also work in our city. So definitely for our homeowners and our residents.
I'm going to squeeze in 2 questions. These questions were already answered, but sometimes people ask questions because they are not, it is asked a different way, so they don't realize it was already answered. So this one is, if you do not meet or exceed the income requirements, are you exempt or would you qualify for a lesser amount?
For which program, Facade?
Either.
Well, with mine, I terminate them, but if they came back a year later and say, well, my income has changed, I would give them the grant. But if they're over income or they don't qualify for some reason, I do exclude them. But if they come back, let's say their mortgage is current or whatever the situation was for them to not qualify and now they qualify, I go back and yeah.
So in that case, do they reapply or do they amend their current application?
They will have to amend the application. They will have to submit everything current, new pay stubs, new mortgage, just everything will have to be
Reapply.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I believe that one sounds more like it was for the home facade. And then the next is, can you use the grant to upgrade mixed use commercial properties for sidewalk or curb appeal?
Well, it's all for residential.
Right. And I think just I noticed a quick note on this is to say that, you know, the funds, again, I don't mean to overemphasize it, but they're federal dollars. So every dollar that we use has to also follow federal guidelines. And so that's why Carmine and Kelly are very specific about the requirements and what's in the application, because also our city, we get reviewed and sometimes audited by our federal partners to ensure that all of the dollars that are provided to our city are used for the purpose in which they were intended to, which in this case is to help our families at the income levels that we stated and for the purposes that we're talking about tonight. In the specific instance that was mentioned, it really comes down to the documentation at the time of application. And I think that's what Kelly was trying to share, is that if circumstances change, so say for instance, this last year, it changed for a lot of people. So incomes may have changed, and now perhaps a homeowner who didn't qualify last year may qualify this year because that something may have changed in their life. And so we want to make sure that we're helping as many people as possible, but it's really key to make sure we have the documentation and all the backup to be able to be in our files. So in case we should ever get under review.
If you are on deferment due to COVID, does that mean you are current or not?
Jennifer, would you say the question again for us?
Sure, absolutely. If you are on deferment due to COVID, does that mean you are current or not?
Your loan is being deferred. You're in deferment. Good question.
Kelly, if a homeowner is in a payment plan or something with the bank due to COVID-19 and any changes, would they still be considered current in an application with us if they were already under a specific payment plan with their lender?
Right. I had a case like that, and I approved the gentleman, and he just had to get documentation from his lender saying that it was deferred and when it started and when it ended. And if he had, say if he wasn't approved before it ended, then he would have to submit updated mortgage statements. But if it was during the deferment time and he backed it up with that letter, then yeah, we did approve him because he had the documentation to back it up for mortgage payments, and then he was getting unemployment, so he came under the income limit. So yeah, so we would need just proof, documentation.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Can you just repeat what would be the qualification for a family of 4 applying for the down payment program?
That will be 79,900.
That's the max.
That's the max.
Thank
It
you.
can be under, but they cannot go over that amount.
Thank you.
So you know our Newark residents, they definitely want, you know, straight, precise answers and how does it apply to me specifically. So this attendee states, so if someone applies today for the facade program, they won't hear about application approval until next year?
I'm not gonna say next year, but it won't be next week or next month because it's people that's ahead of them. So I couldn't give a specific date, but you know, I have to filter out who's in front of them. And we have people that's been on a waiting list for, you know, some time. So I have to get those people out first. So I can never give a specific date of when. I wish I could, but I can't.
Andrea, I don't have any questions. Do you have any more questions?
Yes, I am reading quickly. Oh, you know what? Can you specify? So there are a few questions, and here's one just that I just read. Is it a grant or a loan? So can you talk about that?
It's forgivable. And what forgivable means is we want you to stay on a property for 5 years. Like I said, unlike other grants and loans, we only want your time. We don't want money back. So we just want 5 years of your time to stay on the property. And for example, let's just say if we gave you $5,000 for the facade or the closing costs, every year is a prorated amount that's going to be deducted. So say if you was awarded $5,000, every year $1,000 is going to be deducted. So year 2 is going to be $4,000. Year 3 is going to just keep going down until 5 years. After 5 years, it's forgiven. You don't owe us anything. There's no interest added. You're done with us. That's it. Now, let's just say if you decided to leave within the 3rd year, that prorated amount, which is, let's say with $3,000, you will have to pay that back to us. You will have to pay it back. So it's forgivable. And that's the definition of forgivable. We want your time, not your money.
So that's why we're saying it's a grant, except if you move before the 5 years, then it becomes a loan that you have to pay back.
Is a prorated amount that you will have to pay back. And that's explained to you at the meeting between homeowner and myself. I let them know everything because some people may want to move forward with it. Some people may not want a lien on their home, you know, so I give them that option. You know, this is the program. This is how it's done. Are you still interested? Okay, let's move forward. But yeah.
So we have about 15 more minutes before the session ends. And I want to know if the application is available as of today. So we mentioned that, you know, we want to see the folks, you know, come and visit us. You guys are in room 402 in City Hall. Can they come by tomorrow?
Again, yes. Yeah.
Yes, you can come by tomorrow. It's available now.
And they can get the application on the website right now.
Okay, even while we're on the meeting, they can download it.
Yes.
And now one more question before we go back to Jen. So there still are several Section 8 recipients that are interested in home ownership. This one specifically asks, you know, like, I don't know if someone's willing to give a personal opinion, but would it be better if she applies for first-time home ownership down payment program if she's found a house, or to go through the Section 8 home ownership program?
I think it depends. It really depends upon where the family is. In other cities that I've worked in, I can say I've known people who have decided to move, forgive me, to move their family from a Section 8 voucher home where they were renting to buying a home without the Section 8 home ownership program. I also know people who have gone through the program with the program for Section 8 home ownership. So you can go either way. It really depends upon your own personal position and where you are with your income, with what you are able to borrow based upon what a bank would be able to loan you. And that would be my best advice to somebody who's trying to decide, well, how would they go about purchasing a house? So, and I'll just say from a personal experience, when I bought my first place, I didn't know much about it. Didn't know much about the process. I was nervous, didn't know where I wanted to live. And so, but what I did though is that once I spoke to a bank, that helped me understand how much I could afford. And nowadays, you don't even have to go to a bank to figure out how much you can afford. There's mortgage calculators that are out there on the internet. You could call a friend who might be able to show you how to use a mortgage calculator if you're not familiar with it, where you just place in into this calculator, how much do you make every year? How much debt do you have, like for other things like student loans or for car payments or et cetera. And then you're able to have this, formula spit out how much money you can afford in a mortgage every month. And then that would be a starting point to figure out how much you can afford and then how much can you buy. And so I would just tell people it's really a personal choice. Now, the second part I'll tell you though is that the Section 8 homeownership program that we spoke about, though, it was 3 houses to begin with. And that is where we are today. It was 3 houses, 3 families. We will be looking at ways to expand the program, but right now that's where we've been. So it might be good to look at all options that might be before you.
So what are the hours for Kelly and Carmen? And is there a designated lunch hour? So our residents don't want to stop down and then you not be here. So can you give them your office hours?
We're open in City Hall, and I will tell you that if you're not able to reach Kelly and Carmen or Janine on the 4th floor, you can come to 218, which is where I am in 218, and we can provide you the same information that you would get from Kelly and Carmen. And I can tell you that on a regular basis, including this evening, I'm here beyond a 5 o'clock time frame. So just feel free for when you need to know if you have to come into City Hall. You can go to the 4th floor. If by chance they're not available, come down to 218 and we'll provide you the same assistance.
We always work it out with the client.
Thank you so much. And someone asked, what if you're not approved for the grant by the time you are closing?
That means you do not qualify. You have to apply before closing. You have to be approved before closing.
Yes, so essentially, you would have to make sure you're approved not only by your lender, but also by the Economic and Housing Development team for the down payment assistance prior to closing so that we could provide the dollars at closing. If you close prior to us approving you, then we are not able to provide the funds to you, even if you applied. So it's really incumbent upon you to start. I would ask that you start the process soon so that you can apply and understand what you're eligible for. And then we can talk through the approval process so that we don't miss that window. And that is a fair question because sometimes closings happen faster than we're able to move in our public process. But I know that Carmen and Kelly, they try to move as quickly as they can to meet the needs of whoever is applying for the program.
I recommend them, if you have a contract and agreement, apply right away.
So this question may have been asked prior to the last question being answered about it being a grant versus a loan, a loan. So this constituent is saying, are there programs for homeowners to fix up their homes who are on fixed incomes? And because this is a grant, as long as they're going to stay in their home, they can use this money, up to $20,000 to fix up their exterior homes and not have to pay it back. So their income wouldn't be affected because they're using whatever it costs to repair the home. That's what the grant is covering. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah. They income, the lower, the better. Their income will be fine. Yeah.
I just tried to like reword it and say her question at the same time to hopefully, make it make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. I mean, I think I'd say too that the overwhelming majority of people who access the facade renovation program, one with Kelly, are seniors. Our seniors are those that are really working, I know, with Kelly and the work that she's doing. And then on the other side, I'd say that with Carmine, our down payment assistance program, people on average, they're making about $56,000, looking to purchase about a $225,000 home. And so we're seeing that be exactly where our market is in some cases, where we're able to help those that want to just get into a home for their first time, be able to afford it, and access some of this down payment assistance. And then on the other side, our seniors who definitely need assistance sometimes with renovations, they not only get the funding, they also get some guidance from the economic and housing development team to make sure that it's done well and right.
This person asked about SSI. Are you able to qualify for either of the loans if your only income is Social Security?
As long as they come under the income limit, their source of income is their source of income. As long as it comes under the income limit, they can qualify.
I clicked off of Facebook accidentally, so it's on you, Jen.
The young lady that asked the question about the not living in, residing for the 3 years, she put the same question and she wanted to clarify her question. I purchased a home in Newark, but have been a resident my whole life. So I have to wait 3 years before applying, or does my previous apartment in Newark count towards the 3 years? It does not state that on the application.
She have to have owned the home for 3 years. The day that she buys that home, the date that's on her deed is 3 years from that date.
So basically, somebody can't apply for the down payment closing costs grant and also get the home facade.
Not at the same time.
No.
So again, a lot of the questions are around the criteria, and thankfully we're going to have this video to just have it on our Facebook. So in the event, I just want to make that announcement to our audience, in the event that you missed that information, you're able to replay this video and obtain the information, or you're more than welcome to give a call to the department and they'll be able to assist you. I'm just trying to scroll back up because it's a little difficult. And again, when I read the questions, it's the same thing. What is the requirement for the facade program? What is the requirement for the down payment? And then some statements are, why is there an income restriction? And so, do you have any other resources for those who might not qualify because of their income?
Not at this time, unfortunately, but we are looking, and I think Andrea mentioned it earlier, that our city of Newark and our president was able to really provide funding to cities across the country. So I think President Biden and Vice President Harris, they were able to provide the American Rescue Plan funds to cities across the country and states and counties. And so our city of Newark, we're really grateful that we have funds that are coming to our city, and the amount of dollars that's coming to us for over a 2-year period is $177 million. And just over the last 2 weeks, the mayor and the business administrator, Eric Pennington, held 3 sessions that Andrea spoke about, where we asked for feedback about how we could help more residents and more businesses during this time as we're recovering and reopening our city with those dollars. And so, you know, more to come, but I would say for now, no, our funding sources are fixed, and we have the program guidelines as shared tonight.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So at this time, I will say, because it's 7:51, can we replay the video for Great City of Newark?
I think we're going to have to, unfortunately, say it's technical difficulties, but what we could do is we could add it to the Facebook live, like kind of a comment, and we can give you the link. I think, unfortunately, it's not working this evening, and so the sound hasn't been coming through. So we apologize for everybody for that, but we'll make sure you can check it out in another location.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and I want to thank the interpreters. So we will have this presentation in French and also in Spanish, just for the for the listening audience. At a later date, I believe we will broadcast it or on YouTube, on the city's YouTube page for your convenience. I am grateful to say we have successfully answered every question that came before our eyes, and we did it in the allotted time. So just thank you all of the participants, the panelists, for your expertise and knowledge about this great program that comes under the leadership, of course, of our great mayor, Deputy Mayor Allison Ladd, and Janine and all of her staff members. We do appreciate you and what you're doing on a daily basis for our city. And thank you, attendees, for just tuning in. We appreciate you. We definitely hope that you share this information. It is enough to go around, so please just don't hold it close to you. We have resources in the city that we are trying to get out into the community. We don't want it to be that only certain people know about the information. And with that being said, that's a plug to Newark People's Assembly. So if you do want to stay in the know, please email Newark People's Assembly at ci.newark.nj.us. We would be happy to add you to our email list. That is actually the most popular way for us to communicate with the masses at this time. Of course, if you have a better way, we are more than willing to take suggestions. But as of now, if you do want to be added to our listserv, please email us, Newark People's Assembly at ci.newark.nj.us, and you will start getting our emails ASAP. So without further ado, I bid you a farewell, a good night, and good luck with your planning, your home buying process, and your home renovations. Have a great night.